Welcome to Movement Monday here on Heart of a Volunteer, Veterans Podcast with your host, Daniel Hurd. Dan has been cycling one pedal at a time through 44 of the lower 48 states, 17,600 miles, and thousands of engagements to break the stigma of suicide. Dan's journey was halted when he was struck by a vehicle on a lonely Arizona road. Dan's mission hasn't ended, it continues. One step at a time, one episode at a time. Join Dan as he engages in conversations with guests that are on their own movement to influence positive change and bring hope. Again, welcome and enjoy the episode.
Hello, everyone. It's another beautiful Monday. This is episode 4 on Movement Mondays. I'm Dan, and welcome. I'm super excited for this episode because of the history. When I was on the road as a Ride with Dan, USA, something I enjoyed was learning and sharing the history of the area I was in. I stopped at museums when I could, and I checked out a lot of roadside historical markers. There was always something new to learn. Today's co-host is with an organization full of history called American Gold Star Mothers Incorporated. The Gold Star symbol started during the American involvement in World War I. Families hung banners with blue stars representing members in the services. If the service member died in combat, the family changed that blue star to gold. During this time, mother to Lieutenant George von Siebold, Grace Darlin Siebold, volunteered by visiting veterans' hospitals while her son served in the 148th Aero Squadron in 1917. Eventually, the letters that were coming from George stopped. And because George was serving in the British squadron, the United States could not provide the Siebold family with information about their son. So Grace continued to volunteer, hoping that her son may return home. Unfortunately, confirmation of George's death finally came in November of 1918. Grace had become a Gold Star mother. Through her grief, she continued to volunteer and reach out to mothers who had also lost their sons in military service. She brought these mothers together with the sole purpose of supporting one another and providing care to hospitalized veterans. Now, on June 4th, 1928, 25 mothers met in Washington, D.C. and established the National Organization of American Gold Star Mothers. Now, whenever we have a veteran that comes on the podcast, they are not a guest, but they are a co-host. So today, we have a Gold Star mother joining us, and she is our co-host, veteran co-host. So she stays constantly on the move, traveling for work and family often. She knows the importance of service all too well, having served in the U.S. Marines. Many of her family members have also served in the military, including one of her own children. She now serves the needs of veterans through this great organization. Please welcome Leanne Forsythe, a member of the American Gold Star Mothers. Leanne, welcome to Movement Monday.
Thanks so much for having me, Dan. I appreciate it.
No, not a problem. I'm glad that we had the opportunity to connect and get you on here. How's everything in Florida right now? How's the weather out there?
Well, better than it is in most of the country, that's for sure. But we're certainly in the middle of our winter. It's only 60 during the day, so Floridians are freezing.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm here in Texas. It's a little cold. I'm wearing sweatpants. Matter of fact, today is the first day since my accident that I've been able to wear sweatpants.
Wow, that's an impressive, especially for the time of COVID when sweatpants are the order of the day. It's
yeah,
you're finally catching up with the times.
Yes, I am, and that's something else that's been catching up with the times. Technology wise, I've been out of it for like almost 3 years being on the road. So technology is kind of advanced for me as well. So a lot of things have advanced, and I've come up to the normal life that everybody else has, I guess.
Right.
So what do you have going on for the holidays? We got that coming up, and then 2020 is finally finishing. What do you got going on?
Personally, we don't do a lot for the holidays. As you can imagine, for lots of Gold Star mothers, the holidays are very difficult. And my family is sort of spread all over the country. I have Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Montana, twice in Pennsylvania. So it's just my husband and I and the dogs down here. So most of what we do around the holidays is service related. We do a lot of things for the community. We do a lot of things for our veterans. We try to stay in contact with some of our other Gold Star families that really struggle through the holidays. So as far as we don't have a huge Christmas. Our grandchildren are in Montana, so we just get sort of that FaceTime call on Christmas morning to watch them open their gifts. So not a lot, except for the great things that we get to do around our community this time of year.
Nice. I love it. And so your family, your grandkids are in Montana, you said.
Yes.
Do they come down in the wintertime to visit you because it's warmer there? Or?
They've only been up there a couple years. They were in the Orlando area, and my son got an amazing new job in North Dakota. Actually, he works in North Dakota, lives in Montana. So I've been going to visit them, but like I said, I'm a Floridian, so not really a winter Montana travel person, but we go up in the spring and then again usually late summer.
Nice. So did you get to make it up there this late summer this year because of COVID and everything, or?
We didn't. We were there in the spring, just as COVID was starting to happen. I mean, it was just around the time that basketball had decided to stop playing and those kind of things. So it was all, I was in Minneapolis waiting for a plane into the little tiny airport in Williston, North Dakota when all of that was going on. So I actually learned about it in an airport.
Wow, that's amazing. That's crazy at the same time. I'm sure that was a little shock at being at the airport and being like, man, I got to get on a plane with all these people.
It really was, because obviously face masks weren't a thing at that time. Only people in hospitals, for frontline workers were wearing them. So the airport was relatively full when we flew to Williston, but then a week later, when I was on my way back home, everything in the airports had closed down, the food locations were closed, the stores were closed, and the planes were empty. There was almost no one in the airport. So in the matter of a week, the entire world flipped on its head.
Wow. Yeah, and unfortunately, it's been a crazy year for all of us, and it's something that we we're learning to adapt to, and travel has continued to happen, but more cautiously. And I know that you've been still traveling, so
yes, not as much as we normally do, but I travel this year. I've traveled mostly for American Gold Star mothers.
Nice. Now, let's get into the conversation a little bit. One thing that I definitely wanted to get into right away was you were a U.S. Marine. I know that you served from 86 to 92. What influenced you to join the Marines and everything like that?
Well, let me correct you, Dan. It's not was a Marine. I am a Marine once and always.
Very well.
So I was brought up in a military family. My father served in the United States Marine Corps. My uncle was also a United States Marine, and oddly enough, my uncle was my father's drill instructor in boot camp at Parris Island.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that for your dad?
It was, well, very quickly, the short story of what happened was my father went to boot camp. My uncle, who wasn't my uncle at the time, was a drill instructor at Parris Island. And towards the end of boot camp, they had a bulletin board, and they asked all of the recruits to hang photos of their spouses, girlfriends, loved ones up on the bulletin board. My dad didn't have a wife or girlfriend at the time, so he hung a photo of his sister. And my uncle at the end of boot camp said, I'll give you 10 days from the time you graduate to let your sister know that I'll be calling her. And my dad called his sister, said, talk to him, don't talk to him. I don't care. I'm graduating. And, I'll probably never see him again. My Uncle Ken called my Aunt Jen, and they went out on a few dates. And when my Uncle Ken passed away a couple years ago, they had been married for 65 years.
Wow.
And he never let my father forget that he was a recruit. They had a very, we'll call it, interesting dynamic of how they dealt with one another.
Well,
but it gave me it gave me an understanding of service. Obviously, that was during the time of Korea and Vietnam. They didn't often tell stories to other people, but they told stories to each other. And growing up, I would listen, and it was something that touched my heart. I knew that that's what I wanted to do, and I never had, as a young girl growing up, I never had, dreams of being a nurse or a ballerina or a doctor or anything like that. The only thing I ever wanted to be was a United States Marine.
And you are.
I am.
You were, but you are. You are. Now, so how long was your father in for? How long did he serve in the Marines as well?
He served for 6 years.
For 6 years?
Yeah, my uncle was in for 30.
Wow. So I'm sure your uncle threw that in your dad's face a little bit too, I'm sure.
Yes, he did. As often as he could.
Now, something that we talked about before we started recording is your father was in part of something that was the opening of a pretty big installation. What can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. My father was part of the opening of 29 Palms in California, a little speck out in the middle of the desert, which is, it's a huge base now, but at the time it wasn't. And he was part of that team that opened and started building the first Quonset huts that were on that base. Years later, I was stationed there, and that was actually where my son Marc was born. And then, of course, years later, when Marc became a Marine, it's now it's the 29 Palms MGACCC, which is the Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Station, and they have a training facility there for desert warfare. Obviously, in this time of our lives, that's important training to have. So Marc returned there to train to go to Iraq.
Wow, that's and so he was probably there in 07, 08 timeframe. Because he joined, what, 07?
Marc joined the Marine Corps in 2007, yes.
Okay. Now, obviously, you're a Gold Star mother, and Marc is your connection to that.
Correct.
Can you, well, we already talked about why you're part of the Gold Star Mothers, but what, can you share some stuff about Marc and how he lived and what got you to the point of joining the Gold Star Mothers?
Sure. Marc, like me, never wanted to be anything other than a United States Marine. The family joke is that Marc said Marine before he said Mom. He had a heart of service. It wasn't, I would like to hope that it's something that he learned from his family, or at least had role models of from his family growing up, but it was very much in tune with him. He would talk to anyone, anywhere. He wanted to hear their stories. He wanted to know what they cared about. He never sort of gave away anyone. most of us go through life and we sort of pick up and lose people in our lives for whatever reason, not always a bad reason. You move, or you change the way that you're doing things, you change jobs and those kind of things. So friends that you think that you would have forever, you don't. But Marc never gave anyone up. There was no such thing as an ex-girlfriend to him. They just went from being a girlfriend to being a friend, and
it's a good man right there.
He is, and you'll notice when I talk about Marc, I always use the present tense, because to me, Marc is still here, although I physically can't see him.
Yeah, he's always with you, and that's the thing.
Always with me.
I think that's important for, as you as a mother that's lost a child, and other people out there that have lost people in their lives. Unfortunately, they're not physically there with us anymore, but it's important to remember that they're still spiritually with us. They're still in our minds, in our bodies, and around us. And so I think that's important to remember. That
absolutely,
it's still
absolutely.
they're still here with us.
Yes, my after we lost Marc, then we lost my dad, and recently we lost my mother, and in the middle of all of that, my sister and I also lost a brother. So my sister and I actually call them our ships at sea. So whenever we need help or we're having a bad day, we always say we call on our ships at sea, because we know that they're there and they're watching, and even if they can't see us, we can see them.
That's really powerful. I love that. I might even maybe use that one way or another for my own for future, but I think that's that's amazing.
You're welcome to it. Yeah, you're welcome to it.
Now, so I know that Marc passed away in 2010. When did you end up joining the Gold Star Mothers?
Well, there's sort of, and if you don't mind me sharing just a little bit about Gold Star Mothers, it's odd to say, but even people that are in the military often don't know what a Gold Star Mother is, or even the term of a Blue Star or Gold Star Mother. So as you mentioned in your introduction, when you have a child who joins the service, you become a Blue Star family. And even though there is a Blue Star Mothers organization, even if you don't belong to the organization, as far as the community is concerned, you are still a Blue Star Mother because you have a child who's serving. If that child is lost during their service, and lost does not necessarily mean combat related. They're serving on active duty, or they're lost as a result of their wounds. And as you well understand, some of those wounds are invisible.
Yes.
So when that child is lost, you become a Gold Star Mother or Gold Star family. The military community, the military, the Department of Defense looks at those families and they say, you are a Gold Star family. You are a Gold Star mother, father, brother, sister, wife, child. You are a Gold Star family member.
Yeah.
The organization that I belong to, you actually have to join like any other organization. So we're an organization that no family, no mother ever wants to belong to, and would give up their membership in a heartbeat. I became a Gold Star Mother on the 30th of March, 2010, and I had been a Blue Star Mother. I knew what a Gold Star Mother was, but as far as joining the organization and being able to pull myself together enough to reach out, it was actually not until November of 2017. I just was so lost in my own grief that I felt as though I couldn't be of any assistance to any other mother or any veteran in the state that I was in. And I finally just decided that November, I went online and I went on the website and I said, I'm thinking about it right now and I'm just going to do it. If I never go to a meeting, if I never do anything with the organization, I did it. And at least now I have a choice. I have an opportunity. So I joined, I got my membership card. I was assigned to a chapter, which oddly enough, there had never been a chapter in Southwest Florida. And the one that I was assigned to had just been formed in May of 2017. So it didn't even exist until a few months before I joined. And I met a group of amazing women doing amazing things. And I felt as though I had found a home. I felt as though I had found people who, because it's a unique situation, obviously.
Of course.
That you can tell people what you're going through, but unless they're going through it, they don't understand. And especially other mothers who say things like, I'll give you a perfect example. I was at an event. This was before I joined the organization. And I was talking to people that I knew. Somebody was telling a story. It was funny. And I laughed. And there was a mother there who was not a Gold Star mother, but she said to me, I don't know how you can laugh. How can you laugh? You've lost a child. And I thought, I can't. This is what people think of me. I may never be able to laugh, especially in public again, because what will people think of me? And this organization and these women let me laugh. They let me cry. They let me be silly. They let me be angry. They give me the ability to have all that the emotions that we should have as human beings.
And I think that's amazing. So Leanne, I want to dive deeper into what American Gold Star mothers are, but let's take a quick break and we'll get back to that after this.
Okay.
Hey, we see you over there, selflessly devoting your time and energy to something bigger than yourself, affecting others' lives, always biting off more than you can chew. Movement Monday invites you to come have a chat. Know of someone out there giving of themselves for others? Share this with them. Let's spread their message of hope and perseverance. Come be a part of changing others' lives. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the episode.
Man, I love it. I hope that more people listen to that and want to join and be part of this Movement Monday as well. Leanne, so let's get right into it. Let's get into the American Gold Star mothers. First, I want to know and want you to share, what is your position with them? And I know that you are on multiple levels of this organization. You want to talk about that?
Sure. My husband cringes every time I make the list. So we have three different sort of levels within the organization. We are a national organization. We are congressionally chartered, and we have the national board, which the organization actually owns a home in Washington, D.C., our Gold Star house. And then there's the department level, which we call it departments as opposed to states, because some of our departments sort of cover multiple states or territories. Our department is the Department of Florida and Puerto Rico. And then we have the chapter level, which is our local level, which is where a large part of the activity that takes place within the organization actually happens. Mm. So on the chapter level, I'm a board member of the Southwest Florida chapter. We cover everywhere from Sarasota all the way down to Naples on the southwest coast of Florida.
Wow.
So for the chapter level, I am currently the chapter historian, and I am also the chapter treasurer. On the department level,
before you go into the department, I just want to give I want to give a huge shout out to the Southwest Florida chapter for the support that you guys have given me. So just wanted to say that real quick because you guys have been amazing since us connecting, and we'll talk more about that later, but just wanted to give you guys that shout out. So sorry, go ahead. Departments.
Oh, no, thank you. It's been our honor to help you, and I know we're going to talk about that more, but it is absolutely our honor. So in the department level, we are the Department of Florida and Puerto Rico, so we cover all chapters, all Gold Star mothers in the territory of Puerto Rico in the state of Florida. So for the state of Florida, I am the department historian, and I am also the department recording secretary.
Okay.
And last year, I had the great honor of being nominated and elected to the national board. So for the national board, I am the national webmaster and I am the national banner guard. So my responsibility when we do events and those kind of things is I get the extreme pleasure of being able to carry our Gold Star banner.
Well, it sounds like you're also, like, based on what you just said, you're also known as the go-to girl for projects.
I am the projects girl. Last year in September of 2019, every year the American Gold Star Mothers partners with Columbia Southern University, and they provide a scholarship. It's the Grace Darling Seibold Scholarship for a Gold Star mother to get a degree. So last year I was the recipient of the Grace Darling Seibold Scholarship for Columbia Southern University, and I am if everything goes well, I will graduate in July of 21 with a bachelor's degree in information technology. So that's kind of my thing. As I've mentioned to you, I love to be, the woman behind the curtain. I do a lot. I do play webmaster, which is so much fun. Being able to learn everything I can and provide information and share information with not just Gold Star mothers, but the community at large through our websites. I take care of the website for our chapters as well as our national website. And I do a lot of our flyers and graphics and those kind of things.
Very awesome. Now, just so you could have everybody know where it is, could you tell everybody what the website is for Gold Star Mothers?
Yeah, absolutely. It's super easy. Gold Star Moms with an S, MOMS.com. Awesome.
And for everybody, just in case you didn't hear that correctly or maybe whatever, we'll have that in the comments in the description as well when we're done with the episode.
That's fantastic.
So something that we talked about departments and chapters. One of the questions I was going to ask, but you already filled it in for me a little bit, was how many states does Gold Star Mothers operate in? But you said that some certain places don't have departments and chapters yet. How is that? Why is that happening? Do you think? Is there? Why isn't that we have a chapter or a department of each state and territory? And I know, for like you said, for Florida, you guys are also tied in with Puerto Rico, but I did some research and Puerto Rico doesn't have any chapters. So how does that work for them?
They don't. In order to start a chapter, you have to have a minimum of 5 Gold Star mothers. So we have Gold Star mothers that would love to have a chapter, would love to have something in their area, but you have to get 5 Gold Star mothers to be able to commit to the organization. So obviously it's not a huge commitment. There's not, a minimum number of hours or a minimum number of members beyond the 5 that you need to start the chapter. But like I mentioned, it took me so long to join the organization because some of our moms would love to do things, but they just simply can't. They can't bring their heart to be able to do that. And the nice thing about our organization is that it doesn't matter to us. Because our organization, not only do we help veterans, not only do we help active duty, but we're also here for other Gold Star mothers and Gold Star families. And you don't have to be a member to reach out to us if you need help, if you just need someone to talk to, you just need a shoulder to cry on or an ear to listen, someone who understands what you're going through. You don't have to be a member of our organization in order to do that. So it's a matter of getting those moms to commit to want to be a part of the organization and getting enough of them together to be able to start that chapter.
Okay. Now, so the 5 mothers are needed to start a chapter and be part of the organization. So how, because I know as you brought up, you guys have fathers that are part of you guys as well, sons, daughters, and et cetera. How are you guys organized? You have your mothers, you have, what is it, associates and honorary, or how does that work out?
We have we have the organization. The organization is American Gold Star Mothers. So to be an actual member of the organization with full membership status and voting and all of those things that go along with being a chartered organization, and we are a 501c3. So in order to meet those criteria, you do have to be a mother. You can be an adoptive mother. You can be the biological mother of the fallen hero. But then we have associate members, and associate members can be almost anyone. It can be a Gold Star brother, sister. We have in our chapter, we have Gold Star dads who are associate members. We even have a Gold Star sister of a fallen hero from Vietnam. She lost her mom, but she still wants to be a part of the organization. So she's an associate member. That's nice. And anyone can volunteer with us. We will never turn down a set of extra hands.
No, and that's something I think that we need more of is volunteers, people that aren't part of per se organization, but want to be part of the healing process for families and for mothers. I think that's definitely helpful, and it gives you mothers that are doing this organization. It gives people that aren't part of that, just being volunteers, to realize, hey, we appreciate what you guys have sacrificed.
Right. And there's so many folks out there that want to do something. And of course, any charitable organization, one of the things, of course, you need to do to sort of keep your organization up and running and be able to continue to help people is raise money. But not everybody can do that. And especially in this day and age, with all that we have going on in the world, people don't have that extra money. So they can come in and they can volunteer their time to help us with projects that we're working on. And that's their way that they can donate. Although we do need, the funds, but the personal relationships are really what it's all about.
Well, all right. So how can veterans and civilians alike, how can we, how can we advance your guys' agenda? How can we get who do we have to get a hold of to be part or help volunteer with the organization?
The best thing to do is to find the local chapter in your area. And if there's not a local chapter in your area, you can help with the department level or the state level, and you can also help at the national level. So on the website, goldstarmoms.com, there is a section that is specifically for how we're organized, where all the departments are located, and each chapter within that department is also located on that same page. And the department presidents, the national president, or the local chapter presidents, their emails or contact information is right there. Reach out to them. Say, what can I do? How can I help?
I love it. And I think that's for everybody listening today, definitely if you have that free time or, you just want to be part of helping a great organization, we'll have that information as well in the description so that you guys can get to the list of departments and chapters so that you guys can be part of the change that the American Gold Star Mothers is bringing. Now, something that I noticed when I was doing a lot of research for this episode, I was looking at pictures of Gold Star Mothers, and a lot of the things that you guys do stick out because you guys don't wear a typical outfit that you would wear mourning a lost member or a family member, in a sense, where like I saw you guys doing something at the national level. You guys were what is it, it's the Lost Soldier? The Tomb of the Unknown.
The Tomb of the Unknown.
Yeah, sorry.
We lay a wreath.
Yeah.
We lay a wreath every year, a couple times a year, but specifically Gold Star Mothers Sunday, which is the last Sunday in September. We nationally go and the national board lays a wreath in Arlington at the Tomb of the Unknown.
Yeah, so the Tomb of Unknown, and thank you. I had a brain fart there and forgot what it was called. But the Tomb of the Unknown. So I read an article from a gentleman that was one of the guards that actually stood there and did the walking and all the stuff that they do. And he wrote an article about how on Memorial Day, I think it was, that it was amazing seeing all these people coming in, the VFW, the American Legion, all these different organizations. But one that he said that stuck out to him the most was the American Gold Star Mothers. And that was because he said that, when these other organizations came up, you wouldn't know right away who they were for or the organization they were with until, they got close enough that you could see their hat or maybe their jacket or something to that effect. Mm-hmm. He said that he enjoyed those days because he didn't have to do the marching and stuff because you guys were doing your presentations. But he said that it was something that he really enjoyed was the fact that he knew immediately when the ladies walked up that it was American Gold Star Mother because of your outfit.
Yeah. We wear white. Most people, when they think mourning, when they think grief, when people are planning to attend a funeral, they look in their closet and they look for a dark outfit. They look for a black outfit. We don't wear black. We wear white. Grace Darling Seibold, our founder, was the person that decided that we should wear white. And although we are grieving, we will grieve for our entire lives. That for us will never change. But what we hope to symbolize as an organization is a message of hope. And white is almost synonymous with hope. If you think of things like doves are white. And we want to be recognizable as an organization. What organization doesn't want to be picked out in a crowd? But that's not why we do it. We wear it as a symbol of hope for the future. We wear it as a symbol of love for our veterans, and we wear it in remembrance of our children. They're in heaven, and they have those beautiful white angel wings in our world. And the way that we see them, they did a great thing. They sacrificed for their nation, and we pay homage to that by wearing white in hope for our future.
And, I think that's amazing. The fact that, one, you guys do stick out in crowds. So even though that's not your guys' mission, it works. It definitely works. And I think that it's amazing because, another thing that what white reminds me of is peace. And,
yes.
as much as you guys or you ladies really are, really working to try to find peace for yourselves. I don't think you guys will ever find full peace because you guys will always remember your lost child or children. And, but the fact that you guys are still willing to be part of helping others, not become part of your organization, help, show that, just because we're mourning doesn't mean we have to go and be depressed or be in a dark outfit or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
I think it's just amazing that you guys, the way that things have gone and the way that things have been since the beginning, it's white, and I think that's powerful.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about, just like you said, we will never find that peace. People say that grief gets easier over time. It doesn't. It's just different. We all find our way to sort of cope with it on a day-to-day basis, but it never goes away. So as an organization, we are continuing our child's service. One of the things that we say is that we honor through service. We honor our fallen hero through service to other heroes. The men and women that have served in our military, that are serving, and their families, because being a veteran, that it's not just the veteran who serves, their family serves as well. So
absolutely,
we are continuing the service that our children raised their hand and said, we will support and defend, and we continue to support those who have made the same pledge. They have a different type of sacrifice, but all of these families have still sacrificed for our nation. So if our children were willing to commit that kind of service, then if they're not here to continue it, we need to continue it for them.
And you know what? I love the fact that, as the mothers, you guys, you still have your children 6. You got their 6 still.
Absolutely. And absolutely, without a doubt.
So, talking about services, one, I want to say first that I'm thankful to know one of your sons, Doug. Doug is the reason that me and you were actually connected after my accident. And even though we connected before that for a different reason, what really connected us was my accident. When immediately after my accident, Doug reached out to you, told you what was going on. And I think that's also when you found out that I was actually a veteran.
Yes.
Now, so the organization was really kind. They helped get me the transportation I needed after I got out of the hospital to get to Texas. You guys also did some supplies for my medical, keeping everything clean and everything safe for me to heal. What are some of the other services that you are able to supply to veterans?
Well, it's amazing, and I have a very blessed and unique position in that I am a part of a chapter department and the national level where I've sort of seen the gamut of what we can do. So you are a great example of what we can do at a local and crossover into a national level. When you had your accident, my son, Doug, called me and he was hysterical. I couldn't almost understand him. He was so upset. And I had been following your story. He had been telling me, about your incredible mission, riding across the country and talking to people and hoping to eliminate the horrible stigma of suicide. And I know that as a veteran, military suicide is very close to your heart. So I had been hearing all these stories from Doug. And when I was finally able to get him calmed down enough to tell me what was going on, the one thing he said to me was, "Mom, we have to help Dan." and that was all I needed to know. So I was able to reach out to my chapter. I was able to reach out on the national level, because you were in Arizona, I'm in Florida. I was able to reach out to one of our other national board members in Arizona. She was able to make some phone calls. She talked to you. She talked to police departments and sheriff's departments. So it really was a community of people, like the old game of telephone. You call this one and I'll call that one. And it was, we just did what we needed to do to get you the help that you needed. So we help people on that individual level. Very quick.
And a huge shout out.
Go ahead.
And a huge shout out to Ginger in Arizona for helping me and getting the information I needed while helping you as well. So I appreciate both of you.
Ginger's amazing. She's a force to be reckoned with, for sure. But a quick story of something we've been able to do on the local level. There is we work very closely with the sheriff's department and with the homeless community and searching for homeless veterans. And there are treatment programs that are here in Southwest Florida that other organizations in the VA help these veteran homeless get into. A couple of months ago, one of our homeless veterans that we had connected with, he and his wife and his child had been living in their car, and they were able to get themselves into a position through help and through treatment and through the VA that they were prepared to get an apartment. But living in their car, they had nothing.
Wow.
So as Gold Star mothers, I mean, we look at our veterans as our children. If our children had come home, we would hope that someone would be out there doing something to help them if they needed it. So with partnership with our community, we reached out to friends and family and other veteran service organizations, and through donations from our members, we were able to get this family set up in an apartment. We were able to get their electric turned on. We were able to get them furniture. We stocked their refrigerator with their first full stocking of groceries. We got towels and kitchenwares and body wash and toothbrushes and toothpaste and all that kind of great stuff, so that these people, this amazing family, had a great foundation to jump off from, something to get them started.
That's amazing. Just the fact that you guys all in different organizations as well came together to make this happen. If we just came together, people, as a group and as a movement, we can make a lot of things happen. And that's just one of your stories of helping a family that's in need. And I'm sure that happens on a daily basis for your guys' organization.
It does, and it's not always that huge, obviously. Sometimes it's small things. Every year we use some of the funds that we have raised. We have some amazing veteran families in our local area. They're doing okay, but they're struggling. And those kids at the beginning of the year, they get emailed these laundry lists of things. Everything from tissues to backpacks to, specific colored folders that they need to start school every year. And it's tough as a parent to be able to afford all of those things. So we adopt a few families every year, and we make sure that their children have everything that they need to go back to school. So just buying, folders and pencils and sneakers and things just to be ready to have everything they need for a good foundation for a year of education.
Wow. Now, only because we have some time still, but I wanted to make sure I got into a couple key points that I wanted to talk about. What are you guys doing for veteran outreach during this time because of COVID? This year's been a very crazy, hectic year for a lot of us. And how are you guys still able to accomplish what you got, your task that you guys are trying to accomplish?
You're absolutely right. It's been very strange, and starting into it, we were very confused about how we were going to be able to support um, our veteran community. We got together. One of our members, our local chapter president, Kim Hayes, her husband is a minister at one of our local churches, and the church does all kinds of things throughout the year. And we discovered that they had this closet. I had never seen anything like before in my life. They had this closet full of fabric from quilts that one of their women's groups had made. And we started making masks. And we had Gold Star moms in their own homes, privately making masks. They would wash them and put them individually into little Ziploc bags. And we made little cards that went in there that said, made with love by an American Gold Star mother. And we were able to take hundreds of them to hospitals and to the VA and to clinics and hand them out at some of our senior care facilities and some of our senior housing around the area that have a large veterans population. So even simple things like just sitting at your kitchen table with a sewing machine and making masks, we've been able to help. We have a wonderful house that's here in Southwest Florida that houses veterans in recovery, and we were able to get them a full Thanksgiving dinner. We're going to get them a full Christmas dinner.
That's amazing.
And we're able to do things nationwide as well. One of the things that we're doing nationally, and of course nationally it's much bigger. We still do little things. We have a VA hospital in Washington, D.C. that we put care packages together for every year. And nationally, our goal this year, our amazing president, Cindy, has tasked us with raising money to build a kitchen and gathering space for one of our partner organizations called Working Dogs for Vets.
Great organization, by the way. I want to just say that.
They absolutely are. And just a plug for them, just very quickly, they train service animals for veterans, but the cool thing is that these aren't purebred dogs. They get all of these dogs from homeless shelters, from homeless pet shelters, which I just think that's amazing. But they have a great training program that they do. The veterans come right there onto their property, but they have to go off property and kind of bring food in on coolers and with barbecue grills and things like that. So our goal this year to help this amazing organization and these veterans is we want to build them a kitchen and a gathering space. So when the veterans go there to train with their dogs, that they have a safe, happy, healthy environment to be able to eat and to share with each other.
I think that's amazing. I think that the fact that, Working Dogs for Vets takes and gives second chances to these dogs that potentially couldn't have had that.
Right. It's a second chance for the dog and for the veteran.
Exactly. It's a second chance all around, and that's what's amazing. Now, something before we even get to a second chance, first chances, the youth. Something I know I've been waiting to get to this point because I know you are excited about it, is educating the youth and about the patriotism and the price of freedom. Something that I like I said, I know that you are excited to share and talk about. So what do you guys do to educate the youth and tell them about the patriotism and the price of freedom?
Education is one of the things that's nearest and dearest to my heart, because I think it's so important and something that doesn't get shared as much as it should. And there's a very delicate balance, especially when it comes to our organization as Gold Star Mothers, because some folks are very concerned. They're scared to expose their children to someone like me. They don't know how their children are going to react. They don't know, if their children are going to say the wrong thing or hurt our feelings or not understand, what it means for us. When you explain our organization and who we are, parents worry that their children just won't understand. They won't be able to handle it. Amazingly, children are more understanding. They understand that, not necessarily the full understanding of it, but they understand that we've lost someone that we love and that it happened during their time in service. So what we're able to do is we're able to go out into the community. We have great relationships with our local JROTCs. We have relationships with scouting troops, with church groups, children's church groups, and we can go out and just talk. We can tell little stories. I love to tell stories of Marc when he was these kids' age. I mean, I have 1,000,001 of them I could tell a different story everywhere I go. It makes the kids laugh. It makes them understand that, that our kids are just like them. They can relate to that. And then we have the opportunity to share with them things that they might not get. Here's a perfect example. We love to fold the flag. The flag, obviously, in a folded flag for us means something different. A folded flag for us, it is a symbol of our child. But these children know that that's the American flag, and it has, 50 stars and 13 stripes, and they're red and they're white and, field of blue. But most kids don't know that every single fold, when you fold that flag into that triangular shape, every time you fold it, it has a meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those folds is about family. It's about the mothers who have raised these children to be willing to serve their country. So one of those folds is all about us, which we're very proud of. So educating these children, a flag means more when you know that there's so much more behind it than just Betsy Ross and, it's 13 stripes for colonies and 50 flags for each state. They really get something out of it. And that's something they can carry through their life.
Yeah, and that's, I think, really powerful stuff. And I think that having that information and giving them the ability to have those connections are really amazing. And I think that we should have that more often. I hope that you guys get that opportunity to share that with not just with youths, but with adults as well.
Yeah, it's amazing how many adults don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. And
even veterans, you would think, oh, a veteran, they serve under the flag. They know what it means. Not always.
No, and I wouldn't even be able to tell you the truth if I'd be lying if I said I knew what every single fold meant. And I've only done a few folding ceremonies, but it was more just in the moment type thing. So it wasn't. I knew the mother portion, I think, but I don't know all of them, and so we gotta wrap this up, Leanne. I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. We've been on for quite a while. This is your opportunity right now. If you want to tell anything to the listeners, you have the listeners right now. So feel free to close it out.
I think probably the most important message that I can pass on is for people to be willing to open their hearts. Opening your heart does not always mean opening your wallet. Sometimes it just means going out and doing something. There are organizations, or American Gold Star Mothers, Blue Star Mothers, veteran service organizations across the country that can use your hands, that can use your skills, that can use your knowledge. And in this day and age, the one thing that we need to be is we need to be kind. You never know what is going on You would never know unless you saw me dressed in white and covered in all my pins and pictures of Marc and wearing his dog tags. You may wonder what I am, but you may not know. If you saw me in the street, you wouldn't know. Think before you speak, be kind, and we would love to have you join us in our mission to honor our heroes through service to our veterans. So if you are a veteran, or if you are veteran service oriented and you want to help, reach out to American Gold Star Mothers, and we can find a place for you to be of service.
Leanne, thank you so much. It's been an honor to have you on the show, and we hope to talk soon.
Thank you so much, Dan. I appreciate you having me.
Wow, so much was learned on this episode. I am so thankful for the support the American Gold Star Mothers provide to veterans, and in particular the support I received from the Southwest Florida chapter. I'm thankful for the chance to learn about this organization and its history. What are you thankful for on this day? So many of us have had tough days happen to us, but we learn to adapt to the situations we face. Sometimes we work to bring change for others who are facing similar situations, and we share what has worked for us. Our guest next week is Nicole, and she is working hard to break the cycle of shame and change the stigma of ADHD parents and children. Find out how she's working to do this next Monday. In the meantime, like, share, and subscribe. Heart of Volunteer Veterans Podcast, and have an amazing week, everyone.
Copyright Heart of Volunteer 2020.